have some beautiful Granny Smith apples right here, and whenever the word apple pie comes up, I must say I'm thinking on a beautiful apple pie, nice and golden crisp, the flavor of the cinnamon coming out, and then I'm thinking on a little bit of whipped cream, and then of course some vanilla ice cream, and I must say then I'm halfway to heaven. But I want to show you how to get that crust and that apple filling in there. Let's start. Over here I'm having a chopping blade, and I will add the flour into the work bowl like that. There we go. And then I'm adding a little bit of salt, and I'm adding the butter right into it. And the butter is nice and chilled before I'm putting it into the working bowl. Now I'm going to start on processing that for about 8 seconds until I have a coarse meal. Okay, I just want to make sure we are right there. I think, yes, you see there is no more butter, everything is mixed in. And that's the consistency that you want to have before adding the water to it. So now, once I have that, I'm going to pour the water in there and just pulse it until it comes together. All right, and I think when it clumps nicely together, that's the time it's ready. So I'm going to take it out. There we go. And I'm just going to put them right over here. Dust it with a little bit of flour. Okay. So now I have that. I'm just going to work the dough a little bit. Okay, and now I just want to split it in half. Here we go. And I'm going to create kind of a little shape, so later on, once I chill it for about an hour, it's going to be much easier on me to roll it out. So you want to give them that little shape, just like that. And I'm going to put that into a floured plastic bag. So here, the plastic bag is designed that when the dough rests, it doesn't pick up any crust. So I'm going to put that away, and I have some dough that has rested right over here. So I'm going to take it out. Okay, so always a little bit of flour on the surface. And the dough over here. I always recommend, of course, once you're refrigerating the dough, take it out 10 minutes before you roll it out. It will make it a little bit easier on you. So here I'm going. A little dough on top. Okay. All right, I'm in the final stage here. Having rolled out, that will be actually the top of my pie. So I will flour that pretty generously, right? And I'm going to fold it over once, put a bit of flour over here, and just fold it over one more time. I set it aside, and now I will roll out the bottom dough. There we go. Okay, again, pretty generous with the flour, and I'm going to roll it out. Okay, and you see, since the dough has been brought on room temperature, it's so much easier for me to roll it out. Okay, I think we are ready here. So now I want to show you, I have my pie pan over here. In order to pick up the dough, it's much easier if you're using your rolling pin. You set it here, you're putting the dough over it, and just roll it. And then you're moving your pie shell over here, put it over, and just roll it back there. Here we go. So now that the dough is in it, I make sure I'm folding it down nicely. You really want to make sure you're pushing the dough right in the angles, right over here from the pie shell. Okay, and now I'm going to create a little edge on here. So to do that, I'm just holding the dough, put my finger in there and just slightly pinch it. So again, I'm just pinching here the dough, like that. Just bring in a little bit extra dough each time. There's no worries because later on I will be covering up the dough. And once you have it here, just to cut the dough, let's just roll the rolling pin over it, just like that. And of course, we're taking off all the remaining dough. Now, the little excess of dough, let's just push it up a little bit, because that's where the top of the other layer of the dough will actually meet. And here we go, perfectly lined up. I just will put a couple of little holes with a fork on the bottom here, so that when I'm baking the dough doesn't bubble up. So now let's start with the filling. I'm using the same work bowl. And my ingredients here, I will start with a little bit of cinnamon. So I put the cinnamon in here. I have a little bit of nutmeg. So that could be like the secret ingredient, it's a nutmeg. I put a little flour in here and put the sugar on top. So I'm gonna process that for like 5 seconds. That's it. I have that. So now I will be changing that and put the blade in place in order to actually slice the apples. So I have my medium-sized slicing blade that I put in place and put the top here and bring it up. And in order for me to slice the apples, what I recommend is I have my apples here which are peeled, sliced. Just hold it together, so by slicing it I have some nice wedges. So let me show you how that works. Put them on top, slow it, start it, and here we go. Okay, there we go. I'm liking that. All right, so now I take my blade out, and which is really great about that, I'm just taking my cup and turn it over and put everything into that pie shell. I gotta spread it out, and the nice part is that the sugar and the cinnamon and the nutmeg, everything is right on top. Okay, I press it down a little bit, and then over here I have my dough. So now let me put it on so that that corner here is in the middle of the pie. I'm folding it over, and then voila, here we go. The pie is covered. So now I want to cut the excess of dough. Probably by using some scissors is pretty a good way, or you can use a sharp little paring knife. I like the idea of the scissors. It makes your life easier. So once we have that, I'm just gonna push it down a little bit. Here I work out the dough slightly. And then now I'm folding in my dough slightly in order that I meet the dough which was underneath. Here we go. Now I'm just going to pinch the dough, because when I pinch the dough is when really the heat actually attacks the dough the first, and whenever I do these little pinches, that's which is going to cook first, and then the dough will not shrink. So that's another little trick here. So let me show you how I do that. I take my 2 fingers and I just pinch the dough, and you see we actually ending up with a beautiful design. Okay, I'm ready now. I'm just gonna put a little design here in the dough. Here we go. So the dough will open up a little bit when we're baking it. Here we go. I will put it in the oven at the 375 for about 45 minutes. Here we go, the apple pie, the aroma, the cinnamon, And that's my definition of heaven.